All right, our next speaker. Our next speaker is a former congressman who was part of that wave that got elected after the first Trump debacle. So let's give it up for former Congressman Tom Malinowski.
Thank you, Amalia. Hello times 4,000. Let's also take a moment to give a huge round of applause and thank you to the police officers who are managing all of this for us today and who protect the right to peacefully protest in this country. All right, if you have an American flag, please raise it up in the air. Let's see the flags. Look around. Look at those flags. Think about the country they represent. Think about what we've been through. We're about to be 250 years old. Now, I'm going to date myself a little bit and tell you how vividly I remember this country's 200th anniversary. It was a great year to be a nerdy fifth grader who loved American history. We had a parade of tall ships in New York Harbor, not of tanks in the streets of Washington, D.C. The flag we flew did not belong to a party or to a president, but for the republic for which it stands. And it was, in fact, in that bicentennial year that I became a citizen of these United States. My mom and I, we went down to the courthouse in Newark, and I was totally pissed off that they didn't allow me to take the citizenship test because I was too young. And I thought, come on, Mom, I know this stuff better than you. But I did get to do one thing. I got to stand up and raise my right hand and take the oath of citizenship, the oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. And in later years, I realized something really special, that the words that I said that day as a 10-year-old kid are almost exactly the same words that the President of the United States says when he's inaugurated, that I took years later when I was sworn in to be a U.S. Congressman. Because every single one of us in this democracy has the same job, the same responsibility to defend that democracy. This is why we are here today. And I know, I can imagine, many of you are worried. You're asking, can our democracy survive the cruelty and the corruption that we're seeing, the cult of power around the president, the inability of so many people to tell lies from truth? And I want to answer that question with a quote, with the words of a great American. Not Lincoln, not Jefferson, not Washington, but Will Smith. From a really bad movie, no less, one in which he played a father who was guiding his son to safety on a planet full of scary monsters. And he says to his son, listen to these words, danger is real, but fear is not. Fear is a choice. Now, don't get me wrong. The danger that we face right now is very real, but fear is what Donald Trump and his acolytes want us to feel. Inducing fear is the purpose of the avalanche of outrages that they're sending our way every single day, because they know that fear makes us helpless. Fear is paralyzing. And you know what else they're hoping? They're hoping you don't notice that they're the ones who are really afraid. Think about it. They're afraid of the law. They're afraid of prosecutors. They're afraid of people who can't be corrupted. They're afraid of people who put country over party, like our former governor, Christine Todd Whitman. They're afraid of fact checkers. They're afraid of teachers. They're afraid of people who can do math. And they're really afraid that more and more Americans are realizing that they're failing. After all, Trump had one job, take care of the economy. Nobody voted to kick millions of people off Medicaid to make Elon Musk richer. Nobody voted to make everything from cars to bananas to coffee more expensive, or to invade Greenland, or to send the Marines to deport the families who grow food for our tables. And remember, when you see them do ridiculous things like take the names of heroes like Harvey Milk and Ruth Bader Ginsburg off of our naval ships, remember, that's right, but remember that a century from now, our grandkids are still going to be reading about the lives of those American heroes, and no one is going to remember who the hell Pete Hegseth was. Remember, when you're feeling down, they are losing in court like no one has ever lost before. They are outnumbered on the streets today, and they will be overwhelmed at the ballot box tomorrow when we elect Mikey Sherrill, our next governor, and take back the House and Senate. So look around you. You're not intimidated. You're here today. You beat them before. You're the flaw in their plan. Because you know stuff. You know that 2 + 2 is 4. Let's cheer that. You know the ideals that the flag stands for are stronger than any algorithm-amplified lie. You know that people pay tariffs, that vaccines save lives, that windmills don't cause cancer. You know the criminals who attack cops should be prosecuted, not pardoned. And you know, like all patriotic Americans, that the job of our men and women in uniform is to defend this country, not to parade in front of the President of the United States. And you know what else? You know what the rest of the world is finding out, that Trump always chickens out. We're not afraid of tacos. Who's afraid of tacos? So in this contest for the soul of our country, do not minimize the danger. But remember, we are strong. We are confident. We are slow to anger, but we are roused to action because we are committed to a cause that is larger than ourselves, a cause that has survived 250 years of turmoil and will endure many more. So in that, hold on. In that spirit, I'm not going to let you off with just words of encouragement. I'm going to ask you now to take with me the oath that I took as a kid and so many times since. You ready to repeat after me? You can raise your right hands. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation, without purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of citizen of the United States. So help me God. Thank you.